Welcome back, and today we're going to be exploring the administration module inside Formidable. The administration module is primarily used for managing pens, patterns, forms, and printing volumes and some other useful management information as well. Any user can have access to the administration portal, and just by setting the rules up in the user's screen, which we'll show you shortly, I do have administration rights to this particular instance of Formidable, which means I can see the administration button up in the top right hand corner here. So let's start. So straight away we're presented with a dashboard, and as you can see, the dashboard is really set there to give you a snapshot, if you like, of the state of your server, which is down here in the bottom right hand corner. Up here is a list of the last submissions and who they were by and which device it was from and what the form was called as well. In the bottom left hand side window or pane there is printing. Let's take a look at 2012's. This shows me how much we printed per month. If I double click a month, you will see a daily total. Printing is counted as you either produce a print file from Formidable to send to a professional printer to produce pads of 50 or booklets or anything, and also if you print it to your own laser printer. So every time you print one, obviously this increases by 1. Oops. Up here is the number of users we have on this demonstration instance of Formidable and what roles they have, and I'll cover roles in a second. And of course at the top here, how many pen licenses we have free, tablet licenses, standard pattern, limited pattern and encrypted pattern, and I'll cover that shortly too. So let's click into the Applications tab. An application is a form once it has been designed in the design tool. So if you watch the design tool tutorial, you will note that when we save it, it saves and it writes the code automatically into a file with an extension of .dpp. At that point, that file is full of code and the background and the everything the application needs to run and behave like we asked it to when we digitized it in the design tool. Quite simply to install these, all we would do is install application and find a suitable DPP file. For instance, there's lots here. So this one, for instance, you'll see the extension there. If I install that, you would see that as a new form in here. So all these are forms that have been installed and designed initially in the design tool. Let's take this one for example. If I just mouse over that, you'll notice that every form when it's installed has a unique ID, the name of the form, the description that we gave it in design tool, what device it's for, either paper or tablet. In this case this is for both, when it was created and which organization it belongs to, and I'll cover the organization shortly. Crucially, it also shows us which version we have as well and whether or not there's any pattern associated with that form. So if I double click, you will be presented with a small snapshot of what that form looks like, which is good for people with bad memories, and also some other information down here, which some of that is covered in the front screen, but these are quite important down here because these allow me to re-download that code to my desktop and open it up again in the design tool to make some subtle changes should I wish. Save it again and then upgrade by selecting the new one that I'd just finished in design tool. Very, very quick and easy to upgrade and make changes to forms with this method. And of course I could delete it from here also. The settings on the right hand side allow me to stop the application, and if anybody does write on a form and sends it in, they would get a message which is totally tunable by yourselves. It also enables me to allow either manually or automatically the issuing of licenses. So if we had somebody grabs a pen and sends a form in, that could chew a license up and we might not want them to use that pen, so you can manually trap those, and the same with access to the viewer as well. We don't sometimes want every user to have access to the viewer. Down here is also how we would order certain things. So let's assume I need some pattern for this. I would say I need one shelf of pattern. Now it worked out 6,144 A4 patterns in a shelf of unique pattern. That's because it's a one-page form. If I try and do the same down here with the 5-page form, it will divide 6144 by 5 to give me 1,228. So although we would ship you a license file with 6,144 A4 patterns in it, you would only be able to print 1,228 forms because each form has got 5 pages in it. So let's assume we want to buy a shelf of pattern, and I also want to buy some pen licenses and some tablet licenses. All I would do is select those, generate an order request. That generates a zip file with an order request. You save that, email it to your supplier, and quickly afterwards you would receive another zip file, which is the order result. You would click on import order results, select that zip file that they sent you. This would go blue by an extra 3, this would go blue by 3, and this would go green, and it would look something like something like that. That shows we've got pattern. Now we appreciate you might not want to buy a pattern shelf for every form you have down here. Imagine this would be quite expensive. What Formidable does enable you to do is to quite easily move one pattern from one application or a shelf to another. So we kind of borrow it, if you like. And now if I go back to that form we were looking at earlier, you'll see that now it's there and it's got that pattern range next to it here. Okay, and now I could use print processor to go and print those forms quite easily. So let's move on to users and devices now. This shows me each of the users we have in the system and which pens we have against those users. This is only a small demonstration system. If I, for example, click on Phil here, you will notice that Phil has got 4 different roles, and if you remember from the dashboard screen back here, these are the roles, and at the click of a button I can remove those rights to say he can't, for instance, he can't print or design forms. So if I took that away, next time he logs on to Formidable, he would not see this button in the top right hand corner here. Let's just make sure we give him that back. There we go. Down here you'll see organisations. These are actually set up in this tab here, which we'll go over, but this means it gives you a granular way of segmenting your instance of Formidable. So let's assume you're a large organisation. You might want a section for HR, a section for finance, a section for field service, a section for the warehouse perhaps, and each of those areas can have their own administrator of their forms and their own designer, and each of them would only ever see their own output as well in the viewer. So it enables you quite a granular way of determining how you want to set this up. Clicking on Phil again, if I look on the right hand side I can see he's got 2 tablets here and also a pen. If I click on pen, it shows me the last submission he made. It was via a BlackBerry. It picks up the IMEI number of the phone as well, and which form it was. So he's obviously doing some demonstrations here for a company. So that's a snapshot of users and devices. So that concludes part 1 of administration. I'm going to cover the other 4 tabs in part 2 of the tutorial. So please now go and watch the second part. Thank you.